So Josh, not that you have to, but you are in here, you are the only one in here right now, and you have free reign to ask any questions you'd like.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was only one.
Well, there was another, but she just left right before you came.
Okay. So for the notebook that's due, do you want the week 4 stuff in there as well?
Well, up to the 3 point, not the 3.1 and the 3.2.
Okay.
Just the stuff that includes chapter 2. So most of this week was dedicated to review, but you're right, there were 2 chapter 3 assignments. Let's leave those for the next notebook.
Okay. For some reason, I'm getting a lot of feedback. I'm hearing myself talk. I don't know why. I don't know if it's my computer or.
Yeah, just so you know, you're coming through loud and clear here with no reverberation. So, you know,
Okay.
what you might want to do is maybe turn your volume down, or on your, if you have a volume setting on your computer. You might be getting, you might be just getting some feedback.
That's weird. I'm just hearing it's like repeating the conversation back to me. It's strange.
I've heard that on different occasions, but I could just tell you, from my point of view, you're crystal clear.
I'll just have to muddle through it here.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. I guess I really don't have many questions. I was having a little problem with 2.4. I don't know. Some of the stuff seemed confusing at first, but the more I pushed through it, the easier it got.
Well, that's good to hear. Did you want to go through any 2.4 questions?
I guess number 19 was the one that gave me the most problems, but when I realized what I was doing wrong, it was okay.
Yeah, here's a picture of that problem when I did it on a different occasion.
Okay.
Let's just check it through real quickly. 2.4, number 19. Oh yeah, that goes back and it uses the data from number 18, right? Yeah, right. And you had to start with, you know, 2 people. You have to almost do these lists upside down, and when it,
right.
So the 2 people that like all 3 brands, that has to go in first in that maximum overlap section in the middle. Then 2 people, it says like none of the 3 brands, so that's this guy out here. 7 people like B and C. Now here's where a lot of people make mistakes, because B and C overlap in that red football shaped region I'm making, and you already had a 2 in there, so you can see that that has to be a 5, so that the total is 7. Anyway, you probably figured that out from what it's. Anyway, and then what is the bottom line here? It says a truthful statistician was asked to find out how many people were interviewed, and he said 30. Was he right? Well, if you add up all the numbers, what do you get? 9, 14, 18,
28.
25, 26, 28. And so, yeah, if he's a statistician and he can't add, this is not good.
Okay. See, the problem I think I was having, for some reason, when I was looking at the regions, I was subtracting too much, I think. So at one point, were 6s there. I had 1. I don't know why.
Okay. Is it possible? See, you know, I really should start this clean. Is it possible you had this 3 out here already before you put this in?
No, I followed the proper method.
Oh, okay.
It's just, I don't know what I was doing wrong. Because when I watched the video, maybe I didn't fully understand what was going on.
Yes.
And then I went back and I read the chapter more in depth, and then I understood it.
Oh, that's good. That's a good way to
there's
get
a formula. I'm trying to find the formula. Let's see, I can't find it. Okay, so yeah, page 85 is where everything was more clear to me, where you have A intersects B, and then talk how it's not equal to anything.
Yep.
So, okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes a different
So far, so
example just does the trick for a person. So I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you went to the book to look that up. That's good.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all I really have.
All right, Josh. Yeah, don't forget the test.
Otherwise,
You can take it anytime from Friday early morning, 5 o'clock, up until 11 p.m. on Saturday.
okay. And I guess the final thing.
I was just going to say one more thing. Once you begin, you have an hour to finish.
An hour? Okay.
Yeah.
So then for the two infinities, I took notes on that speech.
Yes,
Do you want those notes included in the notebook?
I do.
Okay, just making sure, because
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's actually like our section 2.5.
okay.
I mean, I don't care if you call it that or not, but yeah, that's important to me that you have something in there.
Okay, very good. All right, should be it.
Okay,
I guess I just gotta number all these things and scan them. So.
Yep.
All right, I'll try to figure out Google Docs tonight too. I don't know how to. I've never used it. My wife, when she was in her master's program, she muddled through that a little bit. So hopefully
Okay.
she can help me.
It's pretty. One thing, yeah, I think it's pretty simple. But hey, if you get stuck and you'd rather do it in a let's say a different word processor and then send it to me, I mean that'll be acceptable. It's just not as. Then it means we have to send these huge files, and we can do it if you really need to. You could use that as your safety valve.
Okay.
Okay.
Just seems like a lot here. I didn't expect so many notes, but it makes sense. It's fun. The more I do it, the more I like it.
It's good news to me that you have a lot of them, because that means you worked at it pretty hard. That's good.
Yeah, I'm almost at 50 pages, so.
Yep, I've had others that were in the 40s, so yep.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Josh. Have a good evening.
You too.
So for those of you who are tuning in a little bit late, we're at 7:35 p.m. Come on in. Anytime is fine. If it's a little quiet right now, it's because at the moment there is nobody in here. I did have 2 students who had about 35 minutes of questions. I forgot to record the first series of them, but I did start about, I don't know, about 10 minutes ago. So I don't know, I've got to put a big reminder and hang it on my nose or something, not to forget that in the future. So anyway, might be a little quiet here, but I'm going to hang on and see if we have any additions and some other people come in. We still have another 24 minutes. So periodically, I'll make a comment or two just to make so you know I'm not sleeping here. So again, just checking in. It's 7:40 at the moment. Nobody at the live Q&A except for me. I'm just checking in, hanging on, at least for another 10 minutes yet. Welcome. Be glad to have you come. Or send me text message or question by email, or you can call me. So again, to fill you in, what you see on the screen, so some of the questions that were asked of me tonight. There's this one, number 7 from section 2.4 on page 90. I know it's all done, and you had to really, if you go back earlier in the video, oh no, I didn't have the record button on, but another one we did work on was number 2 on lesson 2.4. Then a student asked me just to go through the basics of Venn diagrams, and so this was me going through the intersection operation, the union operation, the complement symbol, what that means. And then in the next slide, get my cursor over here. In the next slide, we did a more complex one on the top, this A intersect B parentheses complement, where we had to do, is really a 2-part problem. We first had to do the A intersect B, the inside of the parentheses, and that was the red shading portion. And then we had to find the opposite of that, the complement, and so the final answer is the blue shading, the complement of the A intersect B. So the final answer is the blue shading area. Then I was telling the student how sometimes instead of shading, in particular with me giving you an online test, I don't exactly, shading is not very practical when taking an online test. So what I will do sometimes is what the book did and use region numbers. So I should really get rid of this circle here. Let me just go back to where we were. The original problem looked like this. So here's the same problem. Find A intersect B, the complement of that. Only now, instead of answering it by shading, you answer it by region numbers. So region 1 means everything outside the circles. 2 is just what? This 3/4 moon of A, but not in the part where they overlap, where 3 is. Anyway, so by region numbers, what's A intersect B? Well, that's region 3. And what's the complement of that? Everything not in region 3, which would be regions 1, 2, and 4. So that's the same problem, just done with region numbers instead of using the instead of doing the shading. I mean, expecting you to have colors and shade and be able to write on your screen. I mean, that I'm more likely to ask a question maybe in the format of this problem on the bottom. And then a student asked me about number 19 on lesson 2.4, and we were going through that on this slide. And that problem went back, and it also made use of the data for problem 18. And again, you had to get these overlaps right. You have to remember, you know how when you do these problems of all these intersections, 3 sets here, A, B, and C, you first have to do the part where they all are in common. And if you read the list, it's the one that says 2 persons liked all 3 brands. So that's this person in the middle here. I'm running out of colors here, so I'll use green. That's this one. 2 liked all 3 brands. And once that 2 is in there, well, now what's going on? I mean, now you've got the situation of the next one up is, well, it says 2 person liked none of the brands. That's this 2. Then it says 7 people like brands B and C. And where do B and C intersect? This red football shaped portion here. And that portion has to total 7, meaning this guy here has to be a 5. Biggest mistake some people make. Let's do one more of those. 6 people liked A and C. Where do A and C intersect? This green shaped football area. And that has to total 6. Well, you already have a 2 here, so that means this has to be a 4. Anyway, you have to continue the problem that way. And then when you're all done doing the overlaps, now you can do the singles way on the top, like 15 people like brand A. Well, you've already got 6, 2, and 4 in there on the overlaps. That's a total of 12. If A totals 15, that only leaves 3 for that section and so forth. Anyway, number 19 says, hey, the statistician that you hired said there were 30 people. And if you add up all the numbers in this diagram, you only get 28. So not a very good statistician. So the problem said, what did the statistician say? Well, just by adding up everything, he said there were 28. I got to add those again. 9, 14, 18, 20, 25, 26. Yeah. The total is 28. And the statistician said there were 30. So he's probably not too good of a statistician. So anyway, those were the problems that we went through tonight. And since I didn't have the record button on when we were doing those, I just kind of relived them for you. Okay, so we're down. It's 7:47 p.m. now. I'll still be here for 3 more minutes, see if anybody else wants to drop in. Otherwise, we'll probably close this up for tonight. But you're still welcome to join. Send me a text, call me, send me an email. Any of those would be fine. Don't forget, tonight is the night you're supposed to have your notebook handed in before midnight. So you got to get that page numbering and get all your pages scanned and hopefully share them with me in a Google Docs document, or if you have to, send them to me maybe in a word processor file. I'd appreciate it if we didn't have to send these huge documents around, but so sharing would be much more efficient. But I realize there might be a little bit of confusion on that issue. So. Okay, everyone, it's 10 minutes to 8. I haven't had anyone in here for a while, so I'm gonna close out the live Q&A, and you can contact me in any of the other ways. Have a good evening.